Howdy, neighbors. This is your Texas Agriculture Commissioner, Sid Miller. You know, as Agriculture Commissioner, I've been blessed to see a wide variety of agriculture products grown right here in the state of Texas. From cotton to hemp, strawberries, and grapefruit, Texas can grow and harvest just about everything under the sun. But we also bring in a great harvest from under the sea. That's right, I'm talking about fresh, flavorful, wild-caught Gulf shrimp. To show you how important the shrimp industry is to Texas, my folks at the Department of Agriculture joined forces with Michelle Martin, the founder of The Ag Mag, to create a video series that highlights the quality of Texas shrimp and our shrimp industry. So, join me as we take a closer look at how Texas shrimp are just another way that Texas agriculture, Texas coastal agriculture, matters.
When most folks think of Texas agriculture, they might think of a scene like this. Rows and rows of crops stretching for miles, or maybe even a wine vineyard or an orchard of ruby red grapefruit. But there's another, even more diverse and productive location for Texas agriculture that might surprise you. That's right, the ocean. With 367 miles of Texas Gulf Coast, Texas is definitely a seafood state. For hundreds of years, Texans have been plying the salty waters of the Gulf to bring in plentiful harvest of fresh seafood. So when you think of Texas agriculture crops like cotton, sorghum, or vegetables, remember to add one of the most important products grown in Texas: fresh, wild-caught Texas Gulf shrimp. Hi, my name is Michelle Martin, and today we're going to talk all about shrimp. And I find myself here with Andrea Hance, who happens to be the Executive Director of the Shrimp Association, Texas Shrimp Association.
That's right.
Andrea, tell us a little history about the shrimp industry in general.
So I understand that back in the 1950s, after World War II, the Louisiana shrimping industry was actually trying to expand. And they ended up coming all the way down to South Texas and started a vivacious shrimping industry. It had grown and probably was at its peak probably in the late 1980s. And over the years, the industry just grew and grew and grew. But we actually harvest approximately 40 to 50 million pounds of shrimp each year in the state of Texas. Our shrimp is actually known to be the most valuable in the United States.
Yeah.
The reason for that is Texas is actually one of the only states that closes our waters to shrimping for about 2 months, and that's usually May 15th to July 15th. And what that does, that allows our shrimp to grow to a larger, more marketable size. So the old saying, everything in Texas is bigger, that's totally true with Texas Gulf shrimp.
Amen. Andrea, a lot of times, and probably y'all at home, whenever we go to a grocery store, we order shrimp, we don't really think of it as being imported. We just think of it as fresh shrimp. But that's not the case. What's the difference between Texas Gulf shrimp and imported shrimp?
So on average, there's close to 2 billion pounds of shrimp that's imported into the United States from foreign countries. So that equates out to about 92% of the shrimp that is consumed in the United States, and less than 1% of the shrimp that comes into this country is even tested for banned chemicals. Now, out of the 1% that's tested, about 25 to 30% are found to have banned chemicals. So that leaves 99% of the shrimp that's just flowing into our country and ends up on the consumer's plates.
What should a consumer look for? Let's say that I'm in a grocery store and I stop at the seafood section. How do I ensure that I'm getting that Texas Gulf shrimp?
If you're looking at a bag of shrimp, pull it out, and it is in fine print on there, but look to see if it says product of, and it should say American, or it'll say product of Texas. But if you really want to get down, you want that good wild-caught flavor of Texas shrimp, just read the labels. Some bags even put the American flag on there, but if you read in finer print, it'll say product of Thailand or product of Asia. They do that specifically to trick the consumers. So just do your due diligence and make sure it says harvested or produced in Texas waters or Gulf of Mexico, wild-caught shrimp in Gulf of Mexico.
Why is it so important for the economy that we buy Texas Gulf shrimp?
The Texas commercial shrimping industry, actually, it's the backbone of the coastal community's economy. So we provide thousands of jobs for Texans along the coast. We also contributed at least $500 million to the state's economy.
Wow.
So we are
$500 million?
$500 million. So we're a very thriving industry. Although we have shrunk, but we do still have a great economic impact to the state of Texas. We certainly want to keep this industry viable. We have to do better education for consumers to know what they're eating, and the consumers also have to be willing to know what they're eating and what they're paying for. Those of you that went out and had shrimp for dinner last night at a restaurant, there's a 92% chance that you consumed shrimp from 5,000 miles away that was raised in a pond full of antibiotics. It's your right to know. You have all the right in the world to ask the restaurant. So please demand the shrimp, and let's keep our prices high so we can keep this industry alive.
Andrea, thank you so much for taking the time to show us a little bit of your life. Before I leave, I have to ask you one question.
Okay.
What is your favorite shrimp dish?
Good question. There's so many. The cool thing about shrimp is there's so many dishes that you can make from shrimp. But I think the first thing that comes to my mind is a dish that I actually had never heard of this dish prior to me moving down to the valley 25 years ago, and it's called ceviche. And I think if I'm explaining this correctly, you start with maybe some pico de gallo, some fresh cilantro, chop up some fresh Texas wild-caught shrimp, add a little bit of lime and lemon in there to basically cook the seafood.
Little zing.
A little zing, and serve it fresh on crackers, and I eat that probably once a week, so I love it. It's great.
Now you're making me hungry, so I gotta go. So we'll see you guys next time. God bless.